Give up for Danny Boyle.
So, who hadn't seen it before? Really? Wow! I thought it was like Withnail and I. Everybody just turns up and, like you do. You just turn up anyway for Withnail and I.
It's a real honour for me personally to be sitting here and interviewing Danny. Trainspotting is my favourite film. Shuffle is a festival that I really love, and I've been coming here for a long time. When I was at university, I watched Trainspotting pretty much every day. Should have probably been revising, but it wasn't about that uni, was it? It was about having fun. Okay, so I'm just going to be kind of discussing questions that I suppose a lot of people have for you, and also at the end we'll open it up, and if you guys got a few questions as well, we can ask Danny as well. Sound good? Okay, good. Now what's the whole process of Trainspotting really? How did it really come to you? Irvin Welsh wrote the script, but how did you become aware of it?
Well, we've done a film, Shallow Grave, which had done quite well. It was quite a kind of and it was very and therefore when you get a chance like that, they'll let you do anything that's the same. They want the same thing again, really, or a much more inflated version of it. And I remember we hadn't even shown Shallow Grave yet, but they're very, very sharp in Hollywood. We tend to mock them in the press and kind of or sneer at them, but they're very, very sharp. If there's somebody new on the scene who looks like he or she can do it, they're onto them. And I remember being in the Shallow Grave cutting room, we were just literally finishing off, and there was a phone call, and they said, "It's for you." And I said, "Oh, who is it?" And they said, "It's Sharon Stone." Like that, which for a kid just starting off doing it's quite impressive. And she's doing a film in the Philippines and wants you to, and stuff like that. So you get those kind of opportunities. But we had found this book, which at the time was a very, very small book called Trainspotting, and it had just. By we, I meant the writer, John Hodge, the screenwriter, and the producer, Andrew MacDonald, and myself. And it transformed us, the experience of reading it. And if you've never read it, it's an amazing experience reading it. It really is a masterpiece of a different kind of language, a different kind of expression in novels, really.
Scottish.
It's so Scottish, but it's like the Scottish Ulysses. It really is. It breaks through things anyway. And so we wanted to do this, and they said you're insane. Nobody goes to watch movies about drugs. It was something that we all felt evangelical about, and we found these amazing bunch of actors, and it was kind of went from there really. And it's one of those films where every decision you made just went well, and you kind of. Every decision, every time you put a bit of music on it, it seemed great. And every time everybody said, "Oh, I'll send you a track," and they sent it, and it wasn't disappointing. It was a brilliant track, and so everything. So it was one of those that just falls correctly the whole time.
Yeah, I was going to touch on one of my questions later on, because obviously the soundtrack is so iconic, coming from the very first scene all the way through to the end. I mean, how much kind of input did you have on that? And equally, what was the process behind the soundtrack as well? Because again, that's such a, it's like a bit like Pulp Fiction, where it has its own kind of magical soundtrack everyone loves.
Well, I was very lucky because I'm basically the same age as Irving, so we lived through, and you could feel it in the book, the references in the book. So I have been very lucky. When I was a little kid, my dad bought Beatles records, so I had that, and then when I was like 18, punk hit London, and I was in Bangor in North Wales at college. Punk hit, and that music, and then I was just young enough. I was in my mid-30s when house music hit. So all Britpop, or that kind of, and so you kind of you have this landscape that you could sense in Irving's books, and we exploited in the film really, and they're your own kind of genealogy, or what's brought. And I've always been much more interested in music than films really, and we got criticised a lot. Everybody said a lot of people said it's very MTV. It's like a series of pop videos, and I was like, well, is that a criticism or is that praise? And because I loved that about it, I thought it was wonderful like that, using that form that had just arrived really. But anyway, so I was very proud of those connections with The Simpsons, and then The Simpsons did the toilet scene in one of the episodes. Like 5 years later, The Simpsons did the toilet scene. No, that is worth every bit of stuff you have to put up with,
There you go. Yeah. Funny enough, I met Irvin Welsh recently, and I'm a huge fan of the book. I said, "All right, mate, do you want to sign it for me?" He's like, "Yeah," and he grabbed it off me and just wrote that down the side. If you can't see it, it's just the C word he wrote down in massive letters. That was it. No one will have that even on eBay. Okay. Now, in the 22 years since Trainspotting. How do you feel that kind of storytelling in British cinema has changed, really, or even if it's what it has?
God, I don't know.
I told you that'd be a good question.
Yeah,
as well.
that is a tough question. Did Laura write that question?
Yeah. No, I helped. Don't do that, Danny.
I don't know. You can't really. I don't think that. I mean, I love films and I love what we do with them, but it's not our natural language. I don't think. I think music is more our natural language. Personally, as a nation, you know, when they say what do you think about British film, and we do produce interesting people now and again. I don't think we produce enough producers. Weirdly. Because film is actually about producers. Weirdly, we all think it's about directors, but it's the producers who set the film up. The quest to find money, protect your vision or a vision that you've all agreed on that you're going to make, and protect that. And we don't really produce enough of them. I don't think. You know, our interaction with house music from really like the mid or late 80s, and then there was this wave of what they call Britpop, but there were these bands, you know, like Pulp being discovered, and obviously a film like this allows you to approach bands like that and say, you know, they come in and watch it. And I remember we got Damon Albarn in to watch it, and he wasn't sure about it, because if you hadn't seen it, and you know, now everybody regards it in the way that they regard it, but when you were seeing it originally, a few people said it's encouraging drug use, isn't it? Isn't this encouraging heroin? Isn't it an irresponsible depiction of heroin? Because shouldn't it be depicted like it normally is in drug movies? The movies I was talking about that nobody goes to see because they're so depressing.
Yeah.
And I remember him being uncertain about it. And I remember it was Jarvis said to him, "Oh no, that is brilliant. That you should write some music for that." And he gave us Mile End, the song that's in the film. And Jarvis gave us Mile End. Yeah, it was an amazing song. And Damon wrote that thing for the end, for the kind of Sean Connery thing at the end. But you didn't feel it at the time. It's easy to talk about those things now, and they sound very fashionable. But
sure.
At the time, they were just. It felt like an exciting time, and I remember when we found Born Slippy, you know,
Underworld.
the Underworld track, and it was a wonderful track, but you didn't think it was an iconic moment, which it's sort of become an iconic.
You romanticised a lot, isn't it?
No, it has, yeah. But it was you just thought it's a wonderful song, and you live it really in the moment, I suppose. That quest you have to make something that nobody knows what it's going to be, and they may discover it and love it, like they did with this one, or they may not, like they did with a lot of the other ones that they never. Whereas on television, it's different. It's sort of like, yeah, they'll watch it because it's part of their package. You know, they paid their 28 quid or whatever it is. They'll watch it, or they'll watch the first 2 episodes or whatever it is. It's weird the way the economics affects the experience of making it.
What do you think was the reason for kind of the rise in, so Netflix produced stuff? You had House of Cards, that was huge. Why do you think it's so popular now?
I just think they found a way through technology to harvest the audience that vanishes from cinema. Because as you get older, you stop going to cinema, and that's true across pretty much all cultures they've established. And they've just found a way of keeping hold of that audience, but getting them to pay for a quality product, like it was going to the cinema. And they couldn't keep them in the cinema, so what they did is they followed them home and made them pay there. Really, and I think that's what happened.
For Slumdog Millionaire, you won an Oscar. Well done. Very good. Very good. Brilliant film. Amazing. Absolutely amazing film. And since then, how's having that name now, and are you given so many opportunities now that it's kind of you can't see wood for trees, or is it do you get more stuff that you like specifically? Or?
No, they're really sharp, and they do. You know, when you have a big success, they send you loads of stuff, and you don't respond, and they stop sending you stuff. They're not stupid. They don't keep sending it. They just say, no, he's not going to do that, and they don't send it anymore. So no, I barely get any scripts anymore.
Oh really?
No, you just don't. So, but it's also because they know you work on your own stuff, really. So, that's what you try to do. You try to work on your own material.
Yeah. What's the worst thing someone's ever said to you about one of your films?
So I remember. So we did. I remember doing it. So we did The Beach. I remember, and they do these Q&As in America. They do them here now, where you get a kind of a sheet. You watch the film and then you get a sheet of paper and fill it in. You tick all these boxes, and they find out who likes it, who doesn't, to what degree, and not of it. And this guy, I remember seeing these cards. They give you these cards at the end. You know, you go to this cinema. It was in a cinema in Boston, in America. I remember, and there were these cards, and he hadn't filled in anything. He'd just written in big letters, "Oh, Danny, what have you done?" So he was, I guess from that, he was a big Trainspotting fan who didn't feel it was another Trainspotting film. But, "Oh, Danny, what have you done?" I remember that. I remember that to my dying day.